Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas, even though I'm not dressed up for it.
Yeah, it's okay. I sprung this on Jim. I didn't think much about it beforehand. I just kind of did it, but that's what I am. I'm a thoughtful kind of guy.
Yeah, my Christmas shirt show off my titties too much, so I probably wouldn't have done it anyway.
But Jim, I thought your milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Look, Bri, you can get your milk for Santa from somewhere else, all right?
Yeah, so by the time this comes out, Christmas is in 2 days, so I hope all of you got all of your shopping done, if not most of it. It's kind of not the best time to be going out and needing to go last minute store hunting, but either way,
Get the coup for deals!
It's so important.
Don't be
Jim.
a bitch. Get the coup.
But yeah, no, I do want to give, and Jim has a blower issue.
God damn it. I forgot 2 weeks in a fucking row. It went off earlier. And
Actually, this is the third week in a row, Jim.
It might be the third week in a row.
Speaking of weeks in a row, I do want to give a shout out to Jim and Trav. I listened to the episode. I loved it. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I had a sore throat and I wasn't feeling very good. But no, it was a great episode. I can't wait to actually talk to Trav myself, especially listening to some of the stuff that was not in the episode. Sounds like me and him
You spreadsheet
very
fucks.
similar. Yeah.
I was sitting there doing this and I was just like, this is a perfect guy for Brad to talk to. Of course he's not here.
Yeah, of course. But no, he's a great guest, and if you haven't already, make sure to check out last podcast and all the links to all of Trav's stuff.
Yep,
so
check out all the Polykill stuff. Definitely a great dude.
So Jim, on this festive Wednesday, even though it's Monday right now, are you... Oh, wait a second. Did I see the bottle cap for what I think?
Oh,
Jim, are we beer brothers?
We're beer brothers, because what else? It's Christmas. It's Mad Elf season.
So I'm saving my Mad Elf for the second half. Starting with the Shiner Holiday Cheer. Have you tried this one?
Is that what I had? No, that isn't what I had last week. No, I don't think I've had that.
So I think we've talked about Shiner a few times on here.
Yeah.
They always have some of the more crazy, powerful, flavorful beers. I'm not necessarily going to say they're all great or good. But this one, it's an ale brewed with peaches and pecans and natural flavor and caramel color. No other writing really on it. But my God, if you got a sweet tooth, this thing straight up tastes like a pecan pie that has peaches on top of it. It's pure sugar. It's very light. You can see it's actually really clear. It's just a darker beer. But my God. You can smell the sugar coming off. It actually almost has a taste like peach rings with pecans. I don't know how else to describe it. But I think a one can is going to be a bit much. It's going to sit heavy, but it tastes damn delicious.
Bri, fuck your stomach and your ass.
Jim, we don't all have the butt issues you do.
I had me an issue on this past Saturday. Oh, boy.
Oh, Jim, before we move on, make sure you give yourself a couple lashings for taking the Lord's name in vain so often.
I don't know what the hell's going on with our page. Because, okay, so people who follow us on Twitter, you saw me post, and, I wasn't being serious about it. I thought it was funny because the guy was like, you say goddamn too much. Stop taking the Lord's name in vain. So I was like, all right, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Throw it up there. And then today, I look, same video, 6-year-old, what do you call it, gosh darn bases loaded 1 to 4. Yes, I have a little spree where I say goddamn a lot during it. Someone else goes, stop saying the GD so much. Wait, what the fuck? Did some Christian following subreddit find our video and be like,
I thought the same thing. I thought maybe someone was commenting that saw that first one and was making a joke of it, but that would be too much of a coincidence. I don't know. You and I have gone through these spurts where I know there was earlier ones I feel like you and I cursed a lot more at the beginning.
Oh, yes, we did. We've calmed down a lot. We're old.
We never, ever, number one, we never script, and number two, we never did that on purpose. That was more like how we actually talk.
Yeah.
But as Jim just said, I don't know if you call it maturing or growing up, we still curse plenty, But it's funny, like that's not something I consciously think of, and I've never thought of you as someone who says "God damn" too much. Like, so when he said that, I listened to it. I was like, okay, I guess you do say it, but like I still didn't think it was like a ton. But it's funny now because now that's going to be the hot thing. I guess it's better than your Kevin Spacey comment.
Comments I've never lived down.
I mean, Jim, you probably have a lot of those if we really went through that.
That is true, but Kevin Spacey's that's the easiest one to point out by far.
Well, it was so glaring because
you can't go wrong with Kevin Spacey in your game. It was right at the time. The man is a vocal talent.
Yeah, here's the deal.
So he groomed some teenagers. Wah, who doesn't in Hollywood?
There's a link below for that video, and I'll even put the timestamp of when Jim says it. It's one of the most poorly aged, because did the stuff come out with him, what, a year after that, or was it 2 years?
It was like 2 years.
Okay. But yeah, it's just funny, because you were so emphatic about, like, he can do no wrong. So yeah, I thought that was really funny, and now it's something that I like am going to actively listen for when I hear you do your videos.
Yeah, I just don't. I was just like, what's going on here? I mean, I saw a random spike in our views over like the past 2 days. I was like, oh, maybe some Christians found it. Good, keep coming. I'll bring all the goddams I need for fame. I don't care.
So Jim, so we're both drinking Mad Elf. We've probably talked our heads off about it, but I know you and I, when it comes to things we've been playing, we were able to stream since the last time we talked at least twice. The Golfing with Friends. So I think we both agree it's really fun.
Surprisingly fun game. Buggy, but very fun.
Definitely buggy. I found after the first like 2 levels, the difficulty curve on the courses was just great. Like, and I thought maybe it was like just random, but it seems like as we kept playing, they just kept getting crazier and crazier.
Anything with those like space warps were just a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. No, but it is a fun game, and if you have Xbox Game Pass and you like golf and you and your buddies want to join in together, like, I guess it could be fun with randos too, but really playing with your buddy, I think that's the way to go with that one.
Yeah, it's almost like Among Us-y, just with more gameplay to it, actually.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not like Among Us at all, but it is fun to shit talk with your friends during it. So
I know what you were trying to get at, but I was just gonna let you run with it.
No. I was like, that's a terrible comparison.
So what else have you been able to play? Anything else though?
Yeah, I've been playing a few things. So I've been trying to play Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, the new one, and it is goddamn hard because in adventure mode you can't move on past, like, everything's grouped into like 4 races and then you go against a boss. But to get to that point, you have to get first place in every single race. And this game does not fuck around. You have to learn how to do the boosting, the drift boosting immediately. And it is completely different, like, mechanically, stylistically, than any Mario Kart or something like that. So it's a whole new world. I'm stuck on the 4th race. I keep trying, get frustrated, play something else. So, but it's really well made. Even the Switch port runs good. But yeah, it's kicking my ass.
Just really tough.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then I've been playing Strikey Sisters on the Switch. Little independent game. If you like Breakout and Arkanoid style games, great little time waster. It's fun as hell.
Jim, I've noticed a trend with you and playing these quote-unquote time wasters. It seems like all your time is being wasted with them.
Look, I get progress in it. I'll probably beat it within like 2 hours, and I can be accomplished with myself. So, yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's funny because I feel like with the amount of... It's not like you're not playing games, but the amount of games like you have been playing all tend to be generalized into that style. And then it's
I could just be bad with descriptions. I don't know.
No. I'm not saying the games are bad, or I'm saying the same reason you complain about like I don't want to get too invested into a game that takes too many hours. You've probably put that many hours into just a mishmash of these like roguelikes and these like shooters.
Yeah.
You could just commit to a good like game that you've been meaning to get to for a long time.
Well, I'm going to bring that up next week because there is a game that I have to get to and that I have to just sit down and do. But I'll bring that up next week.
Okay.
And then besides that, I'm actually working on a 6-pack video. And going through it, I was playing a bunch of stuff off couple games off the Genesis and the TurboGrafx, and I guess I won't finish it or like spoil it here. But in each game I played, I wound up getting farther than I've ever gotten before, like out of nowhere. So, like, I was doing a recording just to get certain footage, but then all of a sudden I'm going way longer with each one. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm sitting here and seeing how far I can get. So
I will be interested to see what this is about.
yeah, so that was a nice little surprise for myself. So
Nice.
Mishmash of retro and new stuff for me.
Yeah, I've been kind of I wouldn't say slacking. I dicked around a little bit longer with Dark Souls, and I'm right back at the part where I remember where I left off years and years ago. It's just a fascinating game, as you and I have talked about many times with that series. Like, you just know you have to friggin' grind. And, I get the enjoyment when you beat a boss is so high, but there's so many lows in that series that I'm like, is it going to be worth it? Like, I can't guarantee I'm going to beat it, but I'm going to, like, dump some hours just to see.
Bri, get good.
I mean, that's what you have to do, and I'm not there yet. But no, and outside that, obviously, Call of Duty released their new Warzone map. So I've been playing the shit out of that. That's already got my first victory on there.
Yeah, you couldn't wait to text that out to everyone, couldn't you?
I mean, Jim, it's pretty impressive on the first day of release on my third game. I got a victory. Is it not? Is it not?
Luck.
I've actually been inspired.
Your teammates carried you.
I am inspired to. Sometimes, like when I'm playing it, that's one thing I do love about the newer consoles is when I do a clip that I really like, I'll save it. I'm almost thinking, I think once a week during these podcasts, I might give you Brian's bullshit clip, see how mad you'll get seeing me do something.
You bringing back the 1 minute montage?
No, just one very quick thing I do in a game just to see your reaction.
I'm sure I'll love them all.
Kind of like my hole-in-one when we did the golf game, Jim.
Piece of garbage. I think I holed out on that hole too, and
you did.
Yeah, I did.
But no, outside of that, I haven't. I'm in this weird spot. Like, do you ever get to that thing where after just finishing Doom Eternal, I'm kind of like, it's that excitement of, ooh, what new game am I gonna start? And then you look at all the games you should do, and you're like so torn in between, and you just going back and forth between them, and then you make a decision I'll just keep playing what I always play. Mm-hmm. And you just I procrastinate so bad, but it's I have this long list of these games because I'm just my digital library is becoming the shelf behind you. It's just too much shit I'm not playing, and I'm I need to play, get it off my digital, at least for now, and just blast through these. So I'm trying to figure out which game I'm going to commit to next.
Yeah, you always need that little palate cleanse after beating a game, too. So you can be all right, let me go back to Old Faithful, and then I'll dive into something after my brain's reset.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, by next podcast. But lots of new games or interesting games should be coming out. But before we move on to our next topic, very quickly, did you ask Santa for any games or consoles or anything related to gaming for Christmas?
Actually, surprisingly, no, because I have too much as is. What more do I need from Santa Claus? And I don't think Santa Claus can afford a PS5 right now, so...
Were you on a naughty list?
No, Brian, am I ever on a naughty list? I'm a good boy.
Whether you deserve to be on the naughty list is different than you're on the naughty list.
Look, Brian, I'm a good boy.
You've been known to get in trouble for things that I don't think you always should.
No, I'm a good boy.
Yeah, I think the only two games that I actually asked for were Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So those two are definitely going to be ones I play.
There you go. Yeah, Santa Claus and I were also making a deal to try and keep a limit to certain spending limits, so that precludes certain things.
Nope, I fully understand. But you still, remember, you've been promising now, you got to get MK11 Ultimate. Did you already get it? When the fuck did you get it?
This week.
And I didn't get a text?
I thought I did text you. Did I not text you?
Mm-mm. You son of a bitch. Well, Perfect, because I've actually already... That was one of the first games. Little pro tip for you guys. Go to your local libraries, and they have games you can just, what the fuck is the word? Check out, not rent. And that was the first game I did for the Xbox One. I beat the whole story. I played it for the week I had it. And then I returned it, and I was like, they have all the brand new games just there. So check that out at your libraries if you don't want to go out and just spend right away. Now, if it's too brand new, I don't know how everyone's operates, but that was really great for me. And I was basically like, okay, I can't wait to get this game when it's in Ultimate. So once Jim puts a few hours into it, we'll finally be able to close the loop on the Mortal Kombat games.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do Special Forces and Sub-Zero and Shaolin Monks and be fucking done.
But Jim, should we revise any of our lists because we got so much hate?
Nightwolf will still be at the top. You can all suck my ass. How about that?
Oh, what's funny is we've gotten comments over the
everyone
years.
got cool. They had a cool storyline in MK11. We didn't have MK11 when we made the list. Or we didn't buy the DLC for MK10.
What gets more hate? The fact that you hated so hard on Nightwolf, or the fact that we both think Rain is boring?
Or that we think Tanya's boring. A lot of Tane and Tanya. God damn it, Tanes. Rain and Tanya. Freaking, see him choking on rage. I don't care if they had DLC and they had a cool little 2 hours. I don't care. It doesn't make them cool. It sucked in all the other games.
I still can't believe people defend
NES baseball games aren't as good as in your childhood, and Rain and Tanya suck. Shut the fuck up.
But Jim, baseball stars, we're doing it wrong. We're supposed to pander.
We'd probably be, there are most viewed videos for some of them, so we'd probably be a lot more popular if we did.
Nah, that's not our style, Jim.
Right, pander.
I don't want to.
Pander, you
But
fuck.
yeah, so I can't wait for Jim to play that, because obviously there's no such... let me rephrase that. There's no new Mortal Kombat game that's bad.
Yeah.
So he's going to enjoy that.
Careful on that one. But
Yeah.
I had a fuckload of, GameStop credits sitting around, so I was like, all right,
Nice.
it's time.
See? That's when that shit comes in handy.
Yep.
Nice. So what we got from Patreon this week?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. So, first game. Jesus Christ, I can't talk tonight. From Gamer
That
Astral.
is hitting hard tonight.
I have a brain quota per month, so I have the guy that load last week. It zapped me. Favorite SNES peripheral not released in the States?
Wait, I'm sorry. Favorite...
Super NES peripheral that was not sold in the States.
I am completely in the dark. There were no peripherals other than the Super Scope that ever interest me.
Not the mouse?
No, I did have the mouse, obviously, like everyone else, for Mario Paint. I did spend a stupid amount of time with that, and especially making songs. But outside of that, was there any peripherals that I really was interested in? No. I didn't know enough for... I also knew my parents were not going to buy me it. They're like, you got the console. You don't need this other shit for it. So that was not ever on my radar. And since I didn't have a Nintendo Power, I really didn't have a way back in the day.
Yeah, one, I wasn't a SNES kid, and two, I couldn't name you a peripheral that came out not in the United States. So, yeah, I'm tapped out on this one. I maybe should have looked at these questions beforehand.
Well, we do know Nintendo makes some goofy-ass peripherals, like...
if they have, a horse betting peripheral like they did for the Famicom, then I'll say that. Give me the horse bets.
Damn it, Jim. Good question, but yeah. Yeah, sorry. Wrong guys.
And, of course, Game Whisperer had to comment under that. That would be the European-Japanese superior shell. Shut up with your little toy. Ours looks like a machine for gaming. Yours looks like a little soft toy with all the soft edges. Puss-ass countries.
Jim, you're coming in hot.
I'm coming in hot. I am loaded up. I am half a Mad Elfin, and I'm off the rails.
Lance Armstrong.
And actually, Astro replied with that. I think the design is prettier nowadays, but a bit inconvenient for me at least, since my blah 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 is half of North American Super Famicom. Blah blah blah. So, yes, our shell's better. Next up from Game Whisperer Dean, What game release are you looking forward to in 2021, and what beer would you pair with it?
Ooh, great question. I mean, I'll give my obvious answer of Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, however they're going to put it. But I was going to use this as a topic later. Did you see, Jim, that new game, Back for Blood, that's going to basically be Left 4 Dead 3?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I knew I wanted to talk about that at some point. Guess this is just as good as any. For those of you who don't know, Back for Blood is going to be the spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. And it looks great. I've been really dying for that. I've said on numerous videos, numerous reviews, Left 4 Dead still has the most fun co-op multiplayer gameplay of any game I've played. And I've been waiting for a game to kind of re-emulate that. So if that does that, I'll be all down. Now, if you're talking about that game, beer pairing, I want to keep it a little bit lighter. So I'm going to I actually might stick with some kind of lager. Not necessarily a Pilsner, maybe like a Vienna lager for that. But I don't have a specific one in mind. But the Resident Evil game, without a doubt, an old Russian Imperial Stout, because it looks like they're a little in Russian Village. So yeah, something like that.
All right, and yeah, I really don't know much of anything that's coming out next year except for like Halo Infinite. So I'll say Halo Infinite, and I will pair that with the master from the Prazdaj Czech Republic-based brewery. And I totally did not look that up while you were doing your answer, Brian.
And it's probably like not even in rotation anymore.
Well, Brian, it's a combination of special types of malt that create their rich flavor and unique bright color.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
It can be enjoyed as a semi-dark 13 or a dark 18 variant.
One, Jim, I bet it's not even available here. And two,
probably not.
I know you're not getting that game.
I guarantee I didn't say the name of that brewery right either.
Good, great. I love the question, though. Great question.
Yep. Next up, from G to the next level. Who is your favorite female video game lead character and why? Cheers.
Ooh. Damn. There is a lot.
All right, who's got the biggest cans? First question.
I mean, if you go super retro, I feel like how can you not go Samus or Lara Croft? But Lara Croft, even in the new games, are so goddamn great. Oh, I mean, those are two that pop in my head right off the bat. Just because I probably played more of the games, I'll go Lara Croft.
There you go. Yeah, Samus is almost like a little too easy. You know what? Who is the what's her face? The Native American girl from Tekken. Julia? Was that her? Was that Julia?
Yeah, Jim. So I would say she's probably not a lead, especially because you don't even really seem to remember her name.
Hey, small details. All right, fine. I'll go with the Green Witch from Death Smiles. Because you can play as one of 5 witches. And it's a shmup. And they're all the lead characters.
Why are you trying to just make it obscure? Just go with a popular one that you actually like. Stop trying to be that guy that, like, when someone's like, what's your favorite band? You're going to name some band that nobody... Just... pick your favorite that's popular.
Look, Brian, I saw the Tickle Shits at a bar one time, and they turned into my favorite band. I don't know what you're talking about. No, go Blaze Fielding. She's the easy answer. Streets of Rage.
All right. That's a more acceptable answer. Son of a bitch. I'm surprised you didn't say, isn't Rue a girl?
I don't think so. She could be.
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know.
You tell me.
No? Yes.
I don't know.
Undecided. Next up, from Burn Retinas. Any home ports of games either of you think are better or prefer over their arcade versions?
Ooh.
I have a real easy one for this.
Go ahead.
Contra.
I've never actually played... Oh, I've never played Contra in the arcade, but I've played the arcade port on a console.
Yeah, because that's like... I remember when Contra came out on the 360, like the Xbox Live Arcade. I was like, oh shit, it's got Contra. And then I'm like, wait, this is different. And it turned out to be the arcade version. And it's like, okay, but like the NES version's just a lot better. Same could be said with like Bloody Wolf. Bloody Wolf's way better on the Turbo than an arcade.
I will go Castlevania because the actual arcade version.
Did that come out later?
I don't know, but I know I'm just trying to compare the port or whatever, but it's much better from the NES version to that.
Because that's what, Haunted Castle? Is that the arcade name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that that's like the worst Castlevania of like almost all of them.
It's not good. It looks good, but it's not good.
Yeah. But no, good question. And last up from Alex Perez. What are some of your favorite Christmas traditions? Food, drinks, activities, etc.
I mean, it's not original, but I do love the Christmas Eve, and it's changed obviously now that I have kids, but I'm trying to think of something I've always done for Christmas. I always, for as long as I've had a fireplace, I love having a fire the night before, watching either National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Die Hard, Gremlins, one of my favorites movies. And then on Christmas Day, there's something about we have to make a really big breakfast, and it has to be, you got to make a bunch of pancakes and bacon. Those two are staples. Everything else we'll make, whatever else, but the big Christmas breakfast before you open up all the presents, that's something like I've always done, and I actually really look forward to.
Yeah, with my family growing up, we always did everything like Christmas Eve, like presents Christmas Eve, like the main celebrating Christmas Eve, just so we could like enjoy our shit the next day. But the big tradition we have, like my dad did it for us growing up, like he would dress up as Santa and drop off presents under the tree, and like we would go hide and shit like that. And it'd be like, and when you're a dumb kid, you don't realize that that's just dad in a costume. So that's actually carried over to today now, where either my brother or me, or even if we have another guest over, they'll don the costume and come do it for the new batch of kids. So I've done it a ton of times for my nieces. I did it one year for my niece and my daughter and all the nieces. I mean, the two older nieces know at this point, but my daughter's 3 and their youngest is 4, so we can still have that kind of fun. So we're going to milk that for as long as we can.
Nice. So that's interesting. You guys would do it all on so you would open up all your gifts on Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve night, and then stay up like all night playing a game, and then wake up and then just play with whatever the whole day the next day.
It's weird because you were so good about waiting for shit. The fact that you couldn't wait for one of the biggest nights of the year, and like that was kind of ingrained in you. I would have expected you to be a type that like then is always wanting things a little bit earlier.
No, what do you call it? That was just how they always did it. They were always a Christmas Eve family. Yeah, like apparently, like before I was around, my mom would they would have nothing set up, and she would be the mad woman who like set everything up on Christmas Eve night while my brother was asleep. But by the time I came around, there's an 11-year difference. That was out the window.
They're like, we don't give a shit about
that. Fuck that. We're not enjoying a week of decorations.
Yeah, I guess that 11-year difference, it does make a big difference.
Does it ever?
Well, that's unique. I actually didn't know that, so that's crazy. That's interesting, for sure.
Yep. So yeah, that's what we does. Off the beaten path. But no, good questions, everyone. And thank you once again, and especially to our delightful patrons. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever the hell you celebrate.
We truly appreciate everyone who supports us. It means the world to us, so thank you. Please make sure to keep getting your questions in. And, just can't say thank you enough.
Yep. I'm putting in that Patreon goal for the Love Doll, so we're getting ever closer there.
Damn it, Jim.
What?
We're putting in a tier just for the truffle shuffle.
Right, it's going to look like you.
I guess it makes sense.
Damn it.
Okay. Wow, Jim, you hit me with this out of left field, and I love it because it's something we haven't done in a while. We used to cover some random, I don't know if we call them beer girls with beer.
Right, should we make a new hashtag? Should we call them beer thoughts?
Isn't that didn't we basically call them that? Like, I thought you
something
called
like,
them
I forget
that.
what we called them, yeah.
But in this video, and you can see the link below, and
comes to us from our buddy Longy Long on Twitter.
So it basically just says, local woman goes viral after shotgunning a beer out of a dead fish. Now, just watch the video. At first I was like, oh, there's a fish in the video. You're not focused on the fish. No one cares at all about the fish. The girl is very attractive. And is it stupid? It's not even the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, because, Jim, I don't know if, like, have you ever gone fishing or heard of people go fishing, especially, like, with bluefish, it's a common thing. You can almost wipe the inside of their cheek and eat the meat right out of their mouth, like, as you catch them.
Well, Bri, I am a celebrated outdoorsman, so of course I knew this.
But no, so that's why it's like, I think people are thinking it's more disgusting than it actually is. Like, is it a good idea? Nope. But do you remember what shoeys are? It's a
No.
New Zealand tradition, and the only reason I know it is because one of the heavyweight fighters in UFC, I think you've watched some of the fights with us. His name is like Tao something.
Well, that narrows it down.
I know. But every time he wins, as he's walking through a crowd, he gets someone to give him their shoe. He puts a whole beer in it and then chugs it from their shoe. And it's called a shoey. So it's a tradition that like a lot of people have actually done, and they show videos of it. So that's way more disgusting to me.
Actually, all right, so I don't know why this triggered this memory. But you remember when we went to Tampa for the bachelor party, and we were in line to get into that one club, and the one guy came up to our friend Gunn and asked to see a shoe, and he just like sniffed it and like walked away?
Yes.
There was an article. Fuck, I should have saved this goddamn article. There was a news story like 2 weeks ago.
See, there you go with the goddamns again.
What are you going to do? So there's an article from Tampa about like the quote unquote like shoe sniffer or like the shoe licker or something like that. And there's a guy who goes around Tampa, and I'm like, it was that guy. It must have been that fucking guy. Because none of us saw it happen. We all turned around, and our guy looked like he just got, like things happened to him. And had a little bit of had a little bit of a ghost face going on. Yeah, it wasn't the first time. And a little bit of a shock. And none of us saw it. It just like he poofed into the night. So apparently the shoe sniffer of Tampa is still a thing, and he upgraded to licking, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I almost call that though a harmless crime. It's fucking weird, but like,
harmlessly sexy.
Damn it, Jim. But wait, hon, you just took me way off track.
Yes, I did.
Back to the girl, the hot chick doing.
I'm just mad that you don't see. I'm assuming that they poured the beer in either. I'm guessing it had to be through the mouth, but I'm almost hoping they like found a way to jimmy it in through like the gills, because that looked like that was almost sliced open.
They already cut it open. If you look at the video,
yeah.
So like after you fish, when you clean they cleaned out all the guts. You basically open it's hollowed out. So basically,
oh, okay, I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's like, I'm sure some people might think it's gross, but it's really not like dangerous. It's just a really hot chick chugging a beer. Like people are like, oh my God, this video is getting so much. I wonder why.
Oh, in that case, it's like beer sushi. Come on.
Exactly. I'll give you 2 reasons why it's popular.
Her personality and her daring personality.
No, it's the Bud Light and the carp, you silly fool.
Personality.
So good poll. I do want to bring this back. So Longy Long, thank you for sending that to Jim, and anybody watching. If you have any videos of crazy shit going on with drinking beer, serving beer, whatever, we're gonna make it our beer thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thanks to Jim.
Oh, good. I don't know. Oh man, I don't know if any beer video will ever top the. It was from like back in 2007 where there was like videos of people butt chugging Four Locos and then just like trying to stand up and immediately like face planting or like hitting their head on a table on the way down. God, that was a golden era of the internet.
Four Locos, man. Terrible idea, but we all did it.
Delicious idea, and they ruined it. That's what happened. Take out my goddamn taurine.
So, Jim, in your favorite reoccurring bit, we got our hashtag gamers mad. I saw you write about this, but I want you to explain to people. What is it you're talking about here?
So Nintendo, as they do every once in a while, they updated their online registries for the Switch Online. So this latest update gave us 4 titles for the Super NES and 1 for the NES. And the games are Donkey Kong Country 3, The Ignition Factor, Super Valus 4, Tough Enough, and on the NES you get Nightshade. So, as they tend to do, kind of random titles, some deeper cuts. Tough Enough, Ignition Factor, I always thought was a Japanese only, like Super Famicom game, so maybe they translated it. I could be wrong, but I thought that there was like a firefighting game that was like Japanese only. But Valis, cool deep cut pool to put on there. Donkey Kong Country 3, Donkey Kong was the one that everyone bitched about not being there until they finally did it. Now we have all of them, I think. Mm-hmm. And then Nightshade, cool little, adventure game, point and clicky kind of deal. So now that we have Donkey Kong, of course, everyone has to have a new game to bitch about. Why isn't this here? And the new game is Earthbound.
I thought
every comment, where's Earthbound? Where's Earthbound? Where's Mother?
Well, I thought the three most popular. It's
Earthbound.
actually 2 comments down or 3 comments down. I feel like the thing I saw the most was Earthbound, Super Mario RPG, and Chrono Trigger. Yeah, like basically RPG heavy games.
Yeah, but it's all people wanting their RPGs on there. So, I don't know. It wasn't like anything even super, like, egregious or anyone freaking out or spurking out way too bad. But it's just like, they really, like, we have to immediately jump into the next thing. Everyone has 1,000 other ways to, well, maybe not with Earthbound, but you still have a bunch of other ways to play it. But if you want Earthbound that bad, you should have bought the Super NES Mini when it was out.
Which it's still, I mean, I'm sure you could still get it, right? There's no chance it's completely, like, being overpriced anywhere. Like, I feel
the Super
like,
NES Mini?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Completely.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah, dude. They stopped production, like, over a year ago.
But I'm saying, like, are people really, like, screwing people on the price? Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize. See, I got mine, like, when it was just...
When it was out.
I literally just walked in a Target. I'm like, oh, there it is.
There's a time when you could do that. Like, I picked mine up and my NES one when they announced that they were discontinuing them because I was like, oh, these are going to go away and go up in price. I'm going to buy them now. So, yeah, no. Now, like I remember I saw a GameStop that was going out of business and they had a Super NES Mini in there without even the box, like just the unit itself that they were selling for $150.
Damn.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I really hope someone's not silly enough to buy that.
Oh, I'm sure someone did.
The comments, though, from what I read, it was like 50% like, why do this when you could just emulate all the games? Okay, we know that. And then it's I want this game. Oh, shitty list. Nintendo screwing. I'm kind of like, we've talked enough about Nintendo.
It happens. It happens every time they update these lists. Like,
when do they do they do it every month?
No, it's every couple months, which is
but
like
they
a fair.
Don't take other games off, do they?
No, they don't.
They just keep piling. So it's like, assuming this goes on for a while. I'm not saying you're gonna get all those games, but I don't know, man. It's a service that is really cheap. You're honestly not doing it for those games. Those games are more or less just a bonus. Like, so you shouldn't be signing up for that service to play the games.
For Nintendo, they're the enemy.
Oh, I hate Nintendo's policies on most of the stuff, and I think they're an overrated company in general. But I just don't like, to your point, I don't like when...
It's phony. It's phony outrage. We all know what we're getting at this point with this online service. Like, stop. It'll probably eventually come. Like, fucking, just go emulate it then. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but, like, if you wanted to, like, I get you want it on the go, but just fucking hack your phone or something. Like, there's 1,000 other ways to do it.
Just emulate. You don't, just emulate. Don't complain. Don't do this. Don't put a grand show. Just emulate and make everyone happy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like, I guess I don't want to say people don't have a right to complain, because, yeah, fine, you're spending your money. Yeah, get what you want. But it's just like, we're beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, for sure. We know Nintendo sucks. Jim and I have been at the forefront of saying that for quite a while now.
We're goddamn trailblazers.
Yeah. So Jim keeps supporting them by buying all their bullshit titles on their eShops, but...
I am supporting the little guy, goddammit.
Who has to give a cut to Nintendo.
I'm a hero.
Oh, Jim, speaking of heroes... I don't know if I'd call them heroes. I don't know what the fuck to call this, because I'm actually...
That's a weird transition.
Kind of... It is, because I don't know how else to transition to this, but coming to us from SNK Global, and
this came out of nowhere.
Okay, so the simple thing is that SNK is going to bring a brand new console from themselves, and what really drives me nuts, and there'll be the link below to this specific tweet. They say a brand new console is coming from SNK in 2021, a system to bridge the needs between passionate fans and console gaming enthusiasts. What the fuck are they talking? Like, there's not already things out there for like if you're a passionate fan and you're a console gamer, you didn't have anything to satiate your goddamn needs.
Right?
What
Console
the fuck
normies aren't real gamers.
Like what? But no, that's my point. Like especially SNK games, are they widely played on PCs?
SNK games aren't widely played on shit. I mean, like they have their.
That's
fans.
my point.
But the only thing, I mean, I know I'm wrong about this, but the only real thing new that SNK even has left is King of Fighters that they release every couple of years. Like SNK's like nothing at this point. They just repackage badly emulated versions of their old games again and again and again. Like they had their Mini, they had the Neo Geo X Gold, they had that arcade stick. Now they're coming out with a console for some fucking reason.
This is what's so confusing to me though. When they were at their prime, okay, say their shit was on Neo Geo. Is that not a fucking console? Or are they just thinking their games are just only good on arcades and that fans couldn't get a true arcade? I don't get what the hell that tweet meant, and it's weird. And
it sounds like it sounds like they're bringing a new console to the market, which cool, but what are you competing with? Like, I mean, I know it's just an announcement and it's vague, so whatever. Because like it's either you're gonna try and compete with Sony and Xbox, or you're gonna fall into that Atari VCS, Intellivision Amico, nostalgia, vanity project, unnecessary bullshit crowd that might not ever come out kind of deal. Like, the last thing we need is another console like that like preys on like an old IP that no one really cares about anymore, and you have like your niche games on it. Like, it's not gonna do anything. Like, it was surprising enough people actually got their Atari VCSs, and like everything was people going, "Oh, I got the VCS," and then no one cared anymore. And it was a day of excitement for their white box console. So I don't get it. I don't see the point.
I not only do I not get it, and it's needless to say, but I'll say it anyway. Yes, it is completely silly. Even if you get all of their old stuff. So outside their fighting games, they did have a good amount of games, especially on the NES, that were pretty solid sports games. I'm not going to say amazing.
They had great sports games. They had great fighting games. They had Metal Slug, and they had some cool shmups. And a couple okay brawlers, but like it's not like they had a really diverse game library and shit like that either. Like, are they developing new AAA titles? What are they going? What is this?
Yeah, like I wish there was something like, hey, we've made a plan to bring you brand new games, or is it what you're saying? Is it just a repackaging of all their shit in one console? Which, okay, if that's the announcement, don't say you're bringing a new console. Say we're gonna give you an experience that you can play all of our old IPs. Like, that's honestly what I think a lot of people wouldn't mind, especially if someone like Konami or other people did it. It's not ideal. It's like, just get with the fucking program and get on Game Pass, get on PS Network, get on Switch Online. Like, do what you gotta do to get on the big boys. Don't make your own shit, and don't bankrupt your division because you're trying to have a great idea. Because I don't see how this ever works, but
I mean, like, SNK was niche when they were big. Like, I just don't see how they either A, have the funding to do this. It's not like they had a Kickstarter or anything. Or I mean, we have to wait and see. It was just them saying we have a console coming out. I almost guarantee it's just going to be a nostalgia box again. But part of me is kind of thinking maybe they have a Wi-Fi symbol over the W in this little announcement thing. So, is it a Wi-Fi enabled little nostalgia box you can play games with your friends? That'll be cool. That'll be fine. But don't make it too pricey. It's definitely too early to tell, but it's also just screams unnecessary because of all these other old things coming back that just turned into nothing.
Yeah, completely unnecessary. And okay, I just want to see where this goes, because it's one of those things, if it's even vaguely successful, I could see other developers following suit to try to bring out, whether they are emulation machines, and then you just get that. It's funny, I saw a meme, and it's not completely correct, but like, you know how for the longest time everyone was like, dude, cable's way too fucking expensive.
Yeah.
I wish I had my own thing. Now every network and their subsidiaries have a goddamn streaming service. And even if you got rid of cable and you get all of them, it's almost the price of cable at this point. Like, to have all of them. So it's like, could you imagine that with gaming then? Like if they tried going that route.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's where the game companies want to go. It's way cheaper to do it that way for them. It's all profit at that point.
I mean, honestly, they just have to figure out a way to deliver it through an HDMI cable to you at this point, because more and more people don't care about physical collections. They care about your IPs. They want what they want, and yeah, you just give it to them in a way that works properly. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, give it to them.
Damn it, Jim. I don't like how you said that.
What? Look,
Don't say what.
Look, Bri, if the Pope can be horny, so can I.
You know, first you say your goddams, now you're blaspheming.
I blaspheme nothing. There is material proof. He likes pictures on Instagram.
You're a towel.
Sure am. Gonna need one after this.
You mean the pictures he likes on Instagram just prove he's human?
Best Pope ever.
Well, the other
Pope of the people.
Fairness, Jim,
Pope of the people.
in all fairness, you don't know what any of these other popes would have been like had there been Instagram back in the day.
Oof.
There would have been some questionable likes, is all I'm going to say.
Moving on. Speaking of questionable, let's talk about the CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk release. Oh, with the transition.
Good God, the firestorm of bullshit. And we got a couple articles here that we're going to go through fairly fast because I'm sure most of you know about it.
You've
heard about
seen it everywhere. But I found a couple choice ones I wanted to go into.
Yeah, so why don't we start with the first one, Jim? Why don't you explain it?
First one comes to us from Game Infinitus. Basically, investors are looking into suing CD Projekt Red for the materially misleading information. So where this all stems with for the TLDR is the game came out. It's been a disaster because all the promotional material showed it on the PC. All the reviews reviewed it basically on the PC and the newer consoles, completely disregarding the old consoles, and to some people, they're damn near unplayable. So, whole public media relations shitstorm going on right now. They're actually pulled it off the PS4 shop, digital shop, issuing refunds. The stocks are going way down right now. And the investors into the game are potentially doing a class action suit, or maybe just a straight-up lawsuit, against CD Projekt Red for misleading everyone. And they might have a case, but that's part of the word investment. It's not a guarantee for profit. There's a chance it could fail. So I don't know the legality behind that.
So it's weird. Yeah, they're in a very messed up situation because I want to be on their side, like not saying they were completely misleading, because it's not unfamiliar. Like a lot of times when 360 switched over to the Xbox One and PS3, PS4, there were a lot of games that like were still kind of like you can play it on the new consoles, but we'll make versions available on the old. And there just wasn't as dramatic as a drop-off. Now, I haven't seen a game firsthand other than YouTube videos that compared it. And from what I've seen, yeah, it does look pretty bad. And pretty bad's being generous, I know. But,
I mean, the game crashes apparently on a straight-up PS5 a lot. So, I mean, apparently PS4's version is, like, I guess considered the worst overall out of all of them. And then, but that's also the biggest install base. So, uh-oh.
That's the problem, is you gotta... I know game companies, as a marketing, as a whatever, everything works in hyperbole and everything works in showing you the best product. From your favorite movie or one of your favorite movies, Falling Down, one of the best lines is he talks about the hamburger, how it looks in the menu, and then you get it and it looks like a flattened piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And we get that from... I don't think there's a single game we don't get that. Even when they put the little thing in there, which is complete horseshit. It's like... This is from actual gameplay footage. But yeah, they don't tell you.
Watch Dogs was the most famous one until now.
Yeah, and they don't tell you, okay, even if that was gameplay footage, that was on a PC that cost $10,000 to run it like that. Like, they don't add in, like, the specs of what's running it.
Let's put it this way, Bri. One of the best ways to play it right now is Stadia.
It's,
That's where we're at.
It's... Of all the shit we've talked about this game, the terrible development, the mismanagement, or whatever, I want this game to succeed, and we have friends like Todd and some other people who have said like it's a really fun game. But yeah, having this many issues. But I can remember like a lot of people being up in arms about every AAA title like Skyrim and all Bethesda games being buggy pieces of shit, even though they're amazing games.
Bethesda used to get away with it because of how good the games were until 76 basically hit.
No, yeah. But that's my point is like this does seem overtly devious, so I can't really be behind it because if there's that much of a drop off, you got to give people a heads up. You got to be like...
I mean, they intentionally didn't give reviewers other versions to play. Like, they gave them the best one to give and show off and shit like that. Like, fuck CD Projekt Red. They knew what they were doing on this one. Like,
no, it's a very shitty, like, it was almost probably like they were at a final game time decision and they're like, we either release it now or do what we need to do to get it operational.
Either we get the Christmas sales or we release a good game.
Yeah, and they went with the terrible decision. Many people have talked about things that could take us back to the terrible things that happened with E.T. Not saying this is even close, but I'm saying in the general idea is probably the same. Like you rush too hard to try and get that Christmas sale, you end up with a shitty product for a game that probably would have been okay.
Yep. So yeah, you done did yourself dirty on this one. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes from this. And you know us, we like our lawsuits. So
sticking with this game, from PC Mag, we have someone who... That's so ridiculous. Don't let anyone shame you for playing Cyberpunk 2077 on weak hardware. Don't let your old PC or underpowered console stop you from entering Night City. The fuck is he talking about?
That's also my favorite comment. I think it's like the third comment where that was just like, what's the point of this article? And well, like every article, we had the link below. He goes into how, he's playing it and he's playing it on an Xbox One X and it's playable for him. Or no, he was playing on an S, I think. So it was an underpowered machine, but he was still like he was having a decent time and he was having fun with it. So he's going on about like how saying, just because a lot of people are having problems, don't let that stop you from going into it. But then it goes off this cliff of don't let people shame you into using it on inferior hardware. Here's the thing. If you feel actual shame from people busting your balls about using an inferior, quote-unquote, fucking way to play a game, grow the fuck up. Like, do people really not have spines this much anymore? Like, it's not like it's little kids playing this game where, Cyberpunk isn't what people are talking about on the playground. No one cares. They're playing Fortnite or Minecraft. Like, they don't give a shit about this. So it's adults on Twitter and Reddit spurging out at each other. And, like, if you're legitimately, like, affected by someone making fun of you for playing it on, like, an Xbox One instead of a PS5, grow a spine. Like, stop. Like, why does an article like this have to be even written in the first place? Like, I don't know if people out there are gigantic pussies or if this author is a gigantic pussy.
No, I think this author definitely has some childhood memories of, like, we've all been there, or I think most people.
Yeah, I had a goddamn egg radio instead of a fucking iPhone like everyone goddamn else. We've all been through it. You fucking learn from it. If you're fucking but I was also 17 and I didn't cry over it either. If you're a goddamn adult and you're crying over this goddamn shit because you're not playing the best version of a fucking video game, grow the fuck up. If you're the one doing it, grow the fuck up. If you're the one being affected by it, grow the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you babies. Jesus Christ, why is this a thing?
Well, it's a thing because the only people that do this are people who are kids and
nerds.
Don't know better.
Fucking nerds.
No. I'm saying the people that shame others. You shame someone else.
The ones who should be shamed are shaming ones that they can shame. That's all this is. It's fucking the shamies shaming more shamies who are double shaming over the shamies that are being shamed in the first place.
I don't know what the fuck you just said there.
Nerd bullying.
But the point is, the only nerd bullying that goes on is honestly, it's from PC to console.
It's from fucking me right now with this goddamn article. That's what's happening right now.
But here's the deal. We have friends who have PS5s and Xbox. No one ever is like, oh man, you run the old hardware. That shit doesn't happen. But it happens from PC players to others. But guess what? The console dudes I've never met someone who takes that shit seriously. You're like, oh man, you're not running that 60 FPS. It's like, no, you fuck. I don't feel like spending $3,000 on a rig to run my shit. But this guy clearly has some deep-seated issues. what I was saying is we've all been there where you didn't have the latest whatever attire, apparel, whatever, the latest shoes, the latest whatever, and you had knockoffs, and kids would shame you for that. So clearly he's carrying those childhood angst issues into this article. I don't get it, man. He wrote it as a call to arms for all of us that are, not heard. I don't know. It was just way more, I don't think holier than thou is the right word, but it's just like...
It's not holier than thou, but he's like trying to start a movement that doesn't need to be started because it's not a thing. I mean, it's a thing, but like, just don't live on the fucking internet then. Which,
Jim.
I know.
No. I know. And I think we've hit this one enough, but it's funny because you saying that right away makes me think of this next article. And I just got to lead us into it. Because talk about something that doesn't
Right, the small dicks are rising up, goddammit. They are sick of this oppression that they see in the goddamn, in the real world, or in the fucking virtual world, and they have to rise up. Because the goddamn dicks in Cyberpunk are too big.
Well, from thegamer.com, and this is written by Eric Switzer.
I still don't know if this is satire or not. This is the one time it needs a satire tag. But at the bottom, it says the gamer's affiliated with, GOG, with GOG. So maybe they have a good sense of humor, or maybe it's just, I don't know.
Let me just explain to the people. So this article, it is linked below. The title is The Small Dong in Cyberpunk is Way Too Big. And if you don't know, in Cyberpunk, when you're creating a character, you can adjust the size of his dong. And he's basically, the whole article just sums around, even when you put it to the smallest, and I don't know where he got this, I don't know if the game has measurements, but he basically said, even their small...
They have examined the P9 in this game.
I don't know if he's basically saying, hey, the smallest one is 5 inches, and that's not small. Like, what about the, what does he say? Like,
of course.
What about the micro penis people? Like,
of course, there's a subreddit r/small dick problems.
Well, but here's the issue. I mean, number one, this guy who wrote this, I'm sorry for you. You got a terrible life. I don't know what to tell you. That sucks. But really, it would be like saying if you played a old school wrestling game and you're like, the smallest wrestler is still too muscly. He's not skinny enough. He's not fat enough. Like, you're playing a fantasy game. And, how do I say this as sensitive as I can? Like, I don't even know if I can say
Are any of the small dicks out there really trying to represent themselves in the game? Or, fucking, I'm a small dick. What the fuck? If I had this game, I would give myself a big, meaty fucking hog. One that I had to drag behind me, goddammit. I'm not playing a fucking video game to live as myself. I hate myself. This is why it's called goddamn escapism. Fucking babies, the fucking small dicks need to be represented now. At least you can be uncircumcised. At least you don't have to be mutilated, but fuck.
But Jim, it's so great because they basically say, well, even if it's, what do you say? He's like, even if it's uncircumcised, that could mean smaller.
I like the way he went into the detail of saying that like the uncircumcised ones are actually even smaller because like they're accounting for the extra skin at the top and the little extra flappage. So technically, the actual dicks are smaller. So if you want your representation out there, you small dicks.
This is so ridiculous. That
I do like when he's like, "Here's my pitch. Give us a slider so you can see it real time." Like this has to be satire, and if
that's what I'm saying.
If it is, bravo to you, because I do partially hate
satire. It's amazing.
If it's satire, I love this article. If it's serious, I hate you, and I hate everyone associated with it.
This is what worries me. I don't know any
Some people are too good at this.
If this is 2009, 2010, there's no question it's satire. In this day and age, this could very well be very legit. This is a guy voicing a legit concern. It's just... What the fuck? Like, how did somebody... I don't care if he gets paid 10 cents for his article. How does somebody get paid to write that article? For real. Like, you're a contributor to this website. I don't know how good the website does, but dear God.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it looks like most of all the other articles that I'm seeing on here are... What do you call
legit.
it? Are legit. Yeah, so not to say that they can't have the occasional goof article, but... A lot of sites will tag that, but this isn't tagged. But I don't know if maybe they want to go with the bit. I don't know. Maybe it's real. Maybe the small dicks actually are rising up. Maybe we get what we deserve.
Jim.
I just don't know anymore. So fucking.
Oh, Jim.
I've lost faith, Brian. I've lost all faith.
I can't. I don't know what to say to you, Jim.
So this, to sum it all up, all this cavalcade of bullshit, along with all the other articles out there. I mean, there's been every argument in the books pro and for this game. So here's some choice articles that we found.
Yeah, no, they're very choice. So definitely click them below and make sure you let us know what you think in the comments.
So to sum it all up, some small dick guy playing an original Xbox is trying to sue CD Projekt Red.
That's right. There you go. That was the. You know what, Jim? That was the cleanest summation I've ever heard you give.
Goddamn right. It's the power of Mad Elf and rage.
Jim, why are you trying to sue this guy?
Look, Bri, I don't need to be represented in games, all right? I'm 6'4", I'm 280 pounds of muscle, and 180 pounds of that's in my goddamn virtual cock, all right? I don't even have legs in the game. I just walk on a dick that slithers like a snail.
Damn it. All right, Jim. So I did have a question here. Semi-open-ended, but let me explain it. I want to know, were there any Christmas movies that you really love that you would love to see as games? And when I was structuring this, almost all my favorite Christmas movies, like probably most people that grew up during our time, Home Alone, Gremlins, Die Hard, they already all have games, but almost like, would you like to see them done in a different way? And to give you a perfect example, the easiest thing I thought of is like, okay, so most of those series I just named, their games aren't exactly great. There are some okay titles in there, but I would love to see like a Home Alone done in the what right now is the current fad of the asymmetrical. So someone plays as like Kevin McAllister and two people play as the bandits, and you literally rig up the house and try and survive the night or something like that. Like done in a more modern way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So like that, I'd want to see Gremlins. I still haven't fully figured out how I'd want to see Gremlins done, but I was almost kind of thinking like a Left 4 Dead style like shooter with that. And like Die Hard, the easiest answer is just give me an over the shoulder kind of like a Gears of War or something like that. Just a really well done shooter version of that, because I don't necessarily need first person. But I want to see that because Die Hard Trilogy is my favorite of that series, of all the games that came out. And my favorite mission is the one Nakatomi Tower, which is a third-person perspective. And it's really fun. So, what about you?
You know what? This doesn't have to be a full price release. Make it a digital game, but make it fucking good. Maybe we've had games from it before. There's always movie tie-in games. Mm-hmm. Give me a good stealth-based Grinch game where you go around Whoville, house to house, can't get caught, stealing all the fucking presents, getting them to the back of the mountain, shit like that. Give me a stealth Grinch game.
Okay. No, I like that. So, yeah. So, now, do you envision in your head, is it more of a, like, almost like Hotel Miami style, like top-down, and you're going around and trying not to get caught? Or is it more of a Siphon Filter / Metal Gear Solid?
I think it would have to be more like Siphon Filter, Metal Gear kind of way. Because like Hotel Miami is more about like sneaking, but also like Twitch reflex action kind of deal. Where like you're not trying to like fuck up the Who's or anything like that. You're trying not to get caught. So
that would be pretty funny though.
Avoiding traps and all that shit.
Yeah.
Cindy Lou Who can be like the big boss because she's the one who discovers him, so she'll be the hardest to avoid, that kind of deal.
Okay. But, Jim, at the end of the game, you're supposed to give it all back.
Yeah, I mean, they have some story element at the end with something or other happening. I don't know.
You know what?
I'm a big picture guy. You do the details. I'll do the big picture. I have the concept. You get me to the goal.
I would actually love to see a like National Lampoon's Vacation just in a like platformer / I don't even know if platformer is the right way, but there's plenty of old NES and Genesis and whatever games where it's like you have some missions that are like almost like vertical shooters, like when he's like with the truck and doing the skiing, and then others that are more like I don't know. Like, you just take those little simple ideas. Like, when they made a Home Alone 2 game.
And no, to your point, you know what you need in that game, though? The Jelly of the Month rant, you need to have that as a QuickTime event because his timing on that and how they cut it together is it's great. But it's so, like, obviously cut together and just awkward that, like, the difficulty is going to be trying to time everything right.
Yeah.
To time it with him. So that's got to be a QuickTime event.
Yeah, you just do a mishmash of all the game styles with that. So I like that.
Yeah.
But what are some of your general favorite Christmas movies?
I'm a sucker for any Christmas Carol movie. So,
okay.
Yeah, like the Muppet one, the one with fucking... I'm going to say what's-his-face for all of them. Like the old black and white one's great. The one from the... pardon me. Mm-hmm. Like the more famous one from the 80s is great. Fucking Scrooged is great.
Scrooge,
like any version is like always good. Like I don't think I've ever seen a bad version of the Christmas Carol be told.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fucking Lifetime probably has a version that's watchable.
Okay.
So, yeah, like anything with the Christmas Carol, I'm generally in for. And you know what? With my kid being around, she fucking loves the Grinch. So I've seen every version of the Grinch, and there's something to kind of like in all of them. Like I've warmed up to the Jim Carrey one too, for as goofy as that one is.
You didn't like that one before?
I watched it like once, and I was like, "This is bleh."
Well, also by the age you were when it came out, like that's that age.
I was a Hot Topic mall rat when it came out.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're
it
also that's where you're too cool for anything, even remotely kiddie.
Right. But yeah, it's goofy, and it's the hottest Christine Baranski's ever been in her life. So yeah, there's things to like about that movie.
Damn it!
It is the hottest she's ever been. You can't deny that.
That's not the point. Just because you're factually right doesn't make you right. God damn.
Just because you are right doesn't mean you should say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like I said. Obviously the '80s movies I've named already this episode. I'm also a sucker for the old ones. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, classic.
And you know what? Like, unfortunately, because
also fucking goddamn you in your fucking 6-pack video today, throwing in the goddamn. Of course, Die Hard's a fucking Christmas movie. I was like, God damn it! Can I just escape this meme for fucking once? I've heard every goddamn year since 2012. Oh, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? I don't fucking care. I don't even fucking care anymore. Shut the fuck up.
Well,
but then you did redeem it with the goddamn joke, so I was like, all right.
So here's the question: do you consider it a Christmas movie?
I didn't before, but yeah, I guess it is because it happens during Christmas. So if it happens during Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. Super Mario 2 is called Super Mario 2, even called Doki Doki Panic. It's a Mario game. So yeah, it's a Christmas movie. Whatever. I don't even care that much.
For someone who doesn't care, you sure are getting fired up, Jim.
Because I'm the internet guy and I have to see it every fucking year.
This is true. This is
3 months. It's not just 1 month. It's like before Halloween. It's almost Die Hard Christmas season. And then I just want to fucking kill myself.
Well, here's what's funny is Monica and I got into an argument about, I said Gremlins is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard.
Way more. Way more.
And she couldn't, I was like, the whole town is set up. It's actually snowing. It's outside. They're decorating. Like, it's the day of Christmas. Like, or, you know, even though I know that is, I was like, to me, it's an open and shut case. But no, you know what? One movie, I know you're probably not as big a fan of the movie, but Krampus would be an interesting video game.
That would be an interesting video game, either as surviving against a monster or as being the monster.
Dude,
either way.
That would be a perfect asymmetrical.
I was about to say, as it came out of my mouth, I was like, let's make Evolve. Give it a Krampus fucking, what do you call it, coat of paint.
Dude, could you imagine? So, I know you didn't play the Resident Evil 3 remake, but in the multiplayer Resistance, you're the mastermind, so you
I saw when you did your video on that and all that.
Yeah, so you basically do that as Krampus, and you can call in, like, the little things, like, throughout the map. Yeah. So basically do, like, the Friday the 13th game, just have your special abilities being, like, calling in the gingerbread men and this and that. Because I know you love that scene with the fireplace. Still, best moment ever in a movie. Completely, for those of you who've never seen Krampus, if you have seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. Family sitting around a fireplace. The Krampus lowers a little gingerbread man down the chimney, and of course, the fat kid wakes up and like starts walking towards it and
can't help himself.
And I'm telling you right now, It's
And of course,
wait.
someone looks over at someone else as we're in the movie theater.
You look at me because
fuck you. You set the precedent in goddamn Zombieland with the fat guy.
But
you set the precedent.
This is the difference.
Audacities are going off the charts right now. I don't fucking care. You fixed this sound, motherfucker. You started this.
Forget what happened in the past. In that moment, it's me, my wife, Jim, and his wife. And this scene comes up, and I'm like about to laugh, but Jim leans over and says, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" Like he's so mad. I was like, I didn't even say anything. You're like, I know you were about to.
You know what you fucking did.
I don't even get a chance to laugh without you yelling at me.
That's goddamn right.
But yeah, that would actually be a fun game too.
Man, we really should put a goddamn counter on these episodes. Fuck, I do it a lot.
Well, Jim, your anger meter has been pretty high. You dropped a lot of F-bombs during the Cyberpunk rant, and your anger meter is high. If it was like
just
a
sick
beer
of the baby
meter,
dick nerds, Bri. What can I do?
You're a man of the people, Jim.
I am a man of the fucking people.
All right, so I'm actually keeping with this tone of anger because this was inspired by you. I noticed when we were playing the golf game, you might have gotten yelled at, and you're interesting because I've joked, but I've said since I've met you, you have progressively got more and more angry. Where I would argue that I'm not more angry. My outbursts during games have calmed down significantly. Like I used to be super loud when I would scream during my Call of Duty rants or whatever. Jim has increasingly got more angry. And one thing I thought of while playing whatever multiplayer game, I was getting so pissed off. And what is your physical, what does it actually do to you when you are in a game and you lose or you do get angry? Is it just a very quick, as soon as you burst, it's gone? Or does it sit with you a little while? What happens to you when you get pissed off from a video game?
Oh, no, it's with anything in life when I get really pissed off in the moment. Like the things that, linger with me, they don't piss me off as bad at first. They start, I'm just like, that's a thing. And then over time, I just think about it, and it stews, and it just goes more and more and more. But, video games and stuff like that, or, dumb work shit or anything like that, that's the instantaneous moment stuff. And I was a breaker as a fucking kid. My parents installing tile floor in the basement, worst thing they could have ever did. That's why I grew up with third-party controllers, because I broke fucking Sega controllers left and right. I'm the type that, I just have to throw something. So, I'm going to fucking... And this is a Napoleon trait, because years ago, I was in the car with my brother, and I was still a teen. He was probably in his early to mid-20s, and he got off the phone with his girlfriend, now wife at the time, and he threw his phone at the dashboard and it exploded in 1,000 pieces. And I was just like, wow, what a psycho. I'll never be like that. I'm way more chill, man. There's a genetic default in the Napoleon brain where we hit a certain point, the anger monkeys just go off the fucking rails. Because I was a thrower as a kid, and I had to actually stop myself sometimes from throwing shit now. Sometimes there's nothing I would like more than to just grab my keyboard in the moment and just bash it on the table and then just sit back and go back to normal. And I have to stop myself from these things because things are expensive. Or, I've had times where I've, had a phone call that went south and I just get my phone, I just fucking chuck it against the wall and shit like that. So I'm very much an anger in the moment kind of guy. I explode and then I eventually just get over it within 10 minutes.
Okay, so it's like a 10... So, okay.
Oh, here's another example. What do you call it? Fucking this past week in fantasy, I just lost in fantasy playoffs in our league. And I saw that I left 20 points on the bench, and Aaron Rodgers decided to take the second half off this week, and I needed him to fucking come through for me, and he fucking didn't. So I'm in the car, and I had just seen this, but then my kid's in the back screaming to watch PJ Masks on my phone, so I gave her the phone to watch the TV. And I'm just sitting there stewing in the front seat, wanting so bad to do nothing more than to punch the steering wheel for 10 minutes just to get it out of me. But my kid's in the back seat, so I had to contain myself. So, yeah, I'm very much an explosion. And then after 10 minutes, I'm just like, all right, whatever.
But, so when you're playing a game, Like when we play Call of Duty or any game for that matter.
That's why I yell as much as I do.
No, I know. And obviously I'm a yeller too, but here's the deal. Like if you get into a bad game, and this is going to get into which is worse, a topic I came up with, kind of all based on the same idea. If you have like a really bad game, whether it be someone cheating, whether it be some bad teammates, whatever the case, or
like a game that you lose in like the last 2 seconds after winning for most of it.
Like, does it actually make you want to stop playing that game? So, like, if you were playing me and okay, let's say I'm never.
No, I know what you're talking about because you motherfucker, you did this to me the worst with Hero Escape, but. To get back to the point, I know where you're getting at, and no, I don't ever want to like just quit it in general.
No, like, not for good, but I'm saying in that moment, like say
for the night.
Yeah,
no, I'm kind of like you, where like I'm very angry in the moment, but I'm just like, all right, I have to wash that taste out of my mouth, so I have to go back and play again. And I'm also like you, where we've both done it, where we're just like, all right, I'm done for the night. Like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
we're like we've had enough bullshit games in a row that we just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, because there is
like,
that
one game won't do it, but like if it's like a night where it's obvious it's not working out, then I'll be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah. It's the same idea. I feel like people who gamble too much, like you have to know when you're just on a losing streak and you just got to call it quits. And yeah, you and I are similar in that we both definitely have the blow up style. And in the moment, dude, my rage. You talk about breaking things. I mean, obviously, fucking.
Oh yeah, you used to be way worse.
Oh, dude, what did I? How many things have I broken down Irish Weekend when I broke the parking meter and others? Like, I mean, yeah, the amount of things I've punched and broke.
I don't even think you were mad at the parking meter. I think you were just drunk and you went, I'm going to break this.
But that could have been possible too. But no, it's one of those things like I will see now I'm at the point though, because I have like more limited time with games, especially if it is a Call of Duty or multiplayer. And I'm like, a shitty team or whatever, and it's bullshit. That will like get me to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to be willing to do my explosion. I'm just going to stop playing. Like I'll just be like, you know what? I'm done now before I get there. Because I can feel myself bubbling. And I'm like, you know what? Let me not explode. Let me just say, fuck it. I'm going to walk away from it right now. But like I walk away and I've literally sometimes
and you're still mad.
I've gone upstairs and I'm like, I'm stewing because I'm like, if that motherfucker would, like, I'm thinking about the things in the game, and Monica will know. She'll be like, something with your game? I'm like, yeah. She's like, why do you care that much? I'm like, it's the same reason why you'll cry at a stupid show. Like, don't give a shit about, like, you know, I love that argument. It's
Shut
like,
up, woman. It's not the time.
It's just a game. Yeah. Well, have you ever gotten an argument over Monopoly? That's just a game too, but everyone has. Like, we have all been there.
Did your favorite get kicked off The Bachelor? Are you crying right now? Yeah. Does that make sense? No.
So, yeah, I was just very curious because, like I said, I didn't know how much it actually affected you after the fact.
Yeah, I'm not a long-term guy with dumb shit like that, but I'm like, I see right in the moment, and then it'll pass.
I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm very curious. Everyone in the comments below, let us know, how do you deal with when you're super angry at a game? Do you walk away? Do you yell through it? Do you just let it boil? What do you guys do in the moment?
Oh, I mean, like, for the meme that, like, fucking Boogie is Francis is, like, I've been Francis many times. So.
Oh, dude, like I said, I can't, there's nothing I can say about your breaking stuff because however much you've broken, I've probably, unfortunately, broken more. And
you have. I can guarantee you have.
And I can't even argue that it's a Quinn trait because it's not like my brother or my dad were like that. That's uniquely me. So, unfortunately, that is what it is. And my son is quickly developing that.
Yeah, you should have named your kid Karma. That's what you should have called him.
So,
you know I'm right.
Oh, I see it. That's why I don't get as mad at him as I do because I'm like, that's me. That's my fault right there.
See, I'm not afraid to be a hypocrite. You're like, don't be a hypocrite. This is why it's happening. I know what's going on.
No, I know what's going on. I'm just like, yep, I know what's happening. I accept my fate. So, Jim, I don't know if this is going to make you happy, make you sad.
I don't know, because I did not ruin it for myself or try to spoil it. I like to keep this fresh.
Okay.
So moving on to game music. One of our favorites.
Yeah, like I said, I always love this, and now it's more entertaining because I do the research for most of this, and I'll send it. I want to hear Jim's take Now, Jim, I've said this for a couple of the past games. This one, there is no shot you will not understand what game this is supposed to be or what track it's supposed to be.
Oh, well, no pressure.
And the others, like, I didn't understand. Like, let's put it this way. I knowing you and you and I playing this game together, I know you have an intimate relationship with this game. So there's no excuse.
Okay.
So I want...
Fuck. I'm going to choke.
So Jim is going to listen to it now. While he's listening to it, the link is below. It's The Good Life by Inner City. So, Jim, tell me when you're about to hit play.
Hitting play now.
Go ahead.
And there's an ad.
Of course.
Doop, 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 doop. 2, 1. Hitting skip ad now.
Oh, if he hasn't gotten it already, that's...
I mean, it sounds like it's right out of Streets of Rage.
Yeah. It's...
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's right out of, what do you call it, like, Go Straight, like, the first track.
There you go. It's Streets of Rage 2, Go Straight. It is arguably completely identical, and it's funny because when doing research and I found this...
No, I mean, I was listening for so long because I was like, I know what it is, but maybe there's a trick here. But I was like, all right, it's got to be this.
So if you look at the link below, the third comment down, and I love her, someone wrote, I'm about to break out Sega Genesis and play Streets of Rage. Like,
Goddamn right.
Like, this is one of those situations. Now, I've asked you this before. Obviously, we've jacked off Streets of Rage 2 soundtrack. Knowing that, like,
what year? I got to look up what year this song.
No. I already confirmed it. This was in like the 80s.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, so it definitely...
Yuzo Koshiro, you hack. What the fuck?
But here's the deal. It doesn't change the fact that that's a great track. And who knows, many of the other tracks could have been inspired by whatever. Number one, do you think there's any argument that's inspired by this?
I mean, if he ever heard this song before, then there's a definite inspiration there. It's pretty close.
I mean, opening, you hear it side by side.
Yeah, I mean, like, he did the Vanilla Ice almost, if he was inspired by it, because this song goes where Streets of Rage goes
yeah. So he had the little at the end. But
he just went up an octave instead of down an octave. Like, that's all he did. So if he had heard this song before, and he's a music guy, so for all I know, he could have. First time I've ever heard this song. So goddamn.
This is a running list. So I have a whole list of songs, and when this one popped up, I said, "Ooh, I gotta show Jim this," because, like I said, it doesn't affect my thoughts of the game, but it is interesting now. Like, the more I've delved into this, I found some really popular games that we'll hit on. Does it at all affect your thoughts of that song now? Like, if you do know it is inspired almost directly by this.
No.
No? Okay.
No, I don't care. And I mean, like, that's really just like the opening couple chords of it. So, like, it devolves into it. It breaks down to a lot more. So I haven't heard more of the song. For all I know, they copied more parts of it. But yeah,
it does get a. It's not 100% match, but as the song goes on, it's funny. I never knew the song.
It's too nostalgic, so I'm never going to not love it anymore. Yeah. So.
Jim, I'm just slowly chipping apart.
Childhood's a lie! Fuck! Nothing is sacred.
All of a sudden, every episode is about Streets of Rage 2 music.
Every episode is me crying harder and harder.
You're like, no!
Yuzo, what did you do? They're gonna have to re-release the games and put in a bad soundtrack like they did with Resident Evil because you ripped off the music.
Jim, what if I was like, hey, Jim, Breaking Benjamin was inspired by Streets of Rage 2 with this song. Would you like that song more?
No. Fuck Breaking Benjamin.
You're just hating.
Whip brain.
Jim, you just hate on it because of me and Matt. And I actually don't know who you hate on it more because of me or Matt. I'm never gonna dance again.
Oh, that's a good song. Don't you dare be.
No, I love that song too, but I know you heard it so much that you got tired of it.
No, I never got tired of Careless Whisper. There was no getting tired of that
Yeah, but
song.
that version, because it was Seether, and I know you hate them.
I'm not a fan of Seether, but good song's a good song. Good cover's a good cover. What can I say? Hey, no, fuck you for that, because when we saw them at the MMRBQ, I was pissed off because they didn't play it. That was the only song from them I wanted to hear, and they didn't goddamn play that.
Jim, I also know you're a Nickelback fan because of Animals. I know what you
Animals
do.
is a good song. Animals is a good track. What can I say?
Listen, I'm not fighting you on it. I'm just saying. Don't act like you're too cool for school.
Look, bro, you can't be the soundtrack of Monday Night Raw for like a decade if you're not fucking, if you don't have it going on there, all right?
Ooh, actually, you just inspired me. What is your favorite
God.
Monday Night Raw theme?
Oh, Eric in My Eye. Well, not Eric. That's fucking... That's, Eric My Eye's goddamn, shit, the fucking two stoners. Cheech and Chong. But, no. Throw in Your Eye, like... Like the original Raw song. That when they became, like, Raw's War.
Okay, so you didn't like the... Oh, fuck, how's it go? Let's get it on... Move to the music.
On My Generation, like, that's fine. That was a good song, but, like, no, it doesn't compare to that, like, original... Because, oh, fuck, I have that album down here. Because the two original Raw's War theme songs were on the first two tracks on the first WWF Full Metal, the album. And they're both awesome tracks.
Yeah, I have those. So, wait, what was... I know the Raw...
But Thorn in Your Eye. Thorn in Your Eye is the best Raw song they ever had.
So, that one, I think of it... Okay, so that's the one from the game. The one you love, right? The Genesis
No, it's not
game.
from the game. That's from the actual...
No. I'm saying the one in the Genesis game is the one
Oh, no, that one's a good one, too. That original Monday Night Raw song. Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a classic.
Maybe I'm not remembering it. So, Thorn in Your Eye, was that during the Attitude Era?
That was the very beginning of the Attitude Era. Here, I'm going to... You know what? I'm fucking looking it up.
Hold on. I can look it up. Because I had meant to ask you this before... because the one I just sung, what the hell was the one I was singing? What is it called?
Yours, My Generation or something like that. Like, yours was like the...
it was at the end of the Attitude, the start of the next era.
Of Ruthless Aggression, yeah.
Yes.
It was like the 01-02 Raw theme, yeah.
I'm listening to Thorn in Your Eye now.
All right.
Oh, maybe I don't have the right one. Hold on. WWF Raw theme, Slam Jam, Thorn in Your Eye. Oh, it's very heavy metal. Did you like it with the lyrics?
Do I ever care about lyrics? But yeah, no, I did like it with the lyrics. No, it had the lyrics in the Raw theme. Here, let me look up the original.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay. I kind of forgot about it, even though obviously it's my favorite era. Okay. So that was your favorite.
Or you know what? Maybe Altogether Now I'm thinking of more. You'll probably recognize that one more too. Like Thorn in Your Eye and Altogether Now, they're all like 1 and 1.
Okay.
Look up Altogether Now. You might recognize that more.
Gotcha. Nice. No, I was very, very curious. And is it even comparable to say that the Raw themes were always so much better than SmackDown?
Oh, yeah.
Even though the SmackDown, that one annoying that... Oh,
God, yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck that was, but that was...
Yeah, or like that original SmackDown theme, whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah. So we just completely detoured into wrestling as we do. But yeah, so I'm sorry for you guys out there. Go straight. Streets Rage 2, definitely inspired by a song. The link is below. But we're going to move right on, and we just touched on some of it, but I want to elaborate with Jim. Instead of which is better, this is just a quick spin. Which is worse? What's worse? And it's obviously on multiplayer games. Really bad teammates that are not doing objectives, like Jim most of the time. Or when
piece of shit.
Or when you're playing someone who's, I'm using the term cheating loosely, when they're definitely using exploits that like just are super unfair, shitty, or they are going full out cheating, like going under the map or stuff like that. Which is worse for you in a multiplayer game?
Cheating and exploits, because sometimes you can overcome bad teammates. For the most part, you almost can't overcome glitches if like it's too blatant enough.
Okay. See, I find that I get way more angry when I have shitty teammates.
You get more angry at bad teammates.
Yeah, because like when you see someone's cheating, you almost go like, depending on the cheat. Now, yeah, if it's like I'm under the map, and fucking you up, then that's the point where you're just like, okay, there's nothing I can do. But if it's someone using a shitty, like Call of Duty always had the issue of the head glitch, like things like that,
and shit, yeah,
like where you kind of can overcome it and you might still win the game, but it just is like, okay, now I need to avoid that whole area because of that asshole. Whereas bad teammates, like, I will so much quicker leave a game because if you're doing like an objective-based game where you have to rely, any game that relies on like you must have your teammates working with you, and they just are those assholes that aren't doing it or whatever.
What's that new version in Black Ops Cold War where like it's almost like Warzone, but it's not Warzone? It's got the objectives with fueling up the bombs and shit.
Dirty Bomb.
Dirty Bomb, yeah. Like if you're in a Dirty Bomb game and like people are just going for kills and not trying for it, but it's almost strategic too because you need people picking off people to keep them from picking you off.
There's a fine line between, like in a normal domination mode, you have enough people where it's like, okay, you might have 2 or 3 that are only going for kills, and it does kind of help you. And then you can have enough others going for objectives. But how many games have we been in where everyone's back at the original objective, hiding back there, nobody's going to the middle objective, and we just keep moving forward, dying. And they get you to a point where you're like, I've died 30 times. Fuck this game. And I still lose. Like, that that ruins the game for me more. Because, like, the cheat is almost like, I think someone is a piece of shit for doing it for sure. But I almost can't blame them. Like, if there's a glitch that you found that you can get outside the map, the developer needs to patch that shit. And you're exploiting something I don't like. But, you know, that's almost like stupid, goofy, whatever. But you're just a double piece of shit when you're a teammate that's not helping out their team. Like, so
that's a good point, too.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to think of, like, what I've overcome more, and it's probably a 50-50 split for the most part. So... yeah, you can really go either way. I just think, in general, like, I don't know.
It's tough because, okay, if you're in a single multiplayer game, obviously the teammate thing is non-existent. It's cheating. But in a multiplayer game...
I think cheating affects more stuff in general. So I think cheating in general is worse, but... if you're in a mission-based thing and you have a bad teammate, nothing will make you more mad than a bad teammate.
Yeah, and you know,
you're almost arguing will piss you off more in the moment or what's worse in general.
Because I always look at all the cheating shit is generally it's a bug or somewhat or like. And I don't know if you remember a lot of the earlier Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 2. Those 1887 shotguns were fucking like akimboed, were almost unstoppable. Oh, yeah. Until they nerfed them, and then they were manageable. But those would, like, kill you so quick. Like, you had no chance if you turned a corner and somebody had that. Then the developers realized, like, shit, we got to do something about that. Same with the noob tubes, like, at the beginning of the game. Do you remember how often you'd get noob tubed? And then somebody would get a nuke, and you're like, that's cheating. It wasn't really cheating. They were just taking advantage of exploits.
They were taking advantage of a bad version, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of a bad version, though, to me, yeah.
The only reason
that makes me less mad than a bad teammate. I'll give you that there.
And I'll even say those aren't as bad because as shitty as those are, if you wanted to do it, you could have the option to do that same shit.
Right.
Whereas you don't like you and I, we don't have the option to be a complete piece of shit teammate because you know we're going to lose and we care too much about winning.
Yeah, me and you care way more about winning than, like, stats.
Yeah, then we actually should, probably. But that's the problem is, like, that's why I'm saying, like, and it's out there for all you guys listening. I'm very curious. What really bums you out? And I'm going to really preface it. It's got to be team-based games. Because if you talk to me about fighters or anything else, obviously cheating is always the worst. So in team-based multiplayer games, what's worse? A bad team or... someone using exploits or some kind of cheat. Let us know.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. So let us know below what you guys think.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like at first I was like, oh, obviously cheats are worse. But now you go into it more. It's like, I don't know. It does piss me off more the other way. You don't know.
And there's no cure for bad teammates. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw. Yeah.
There is no cure for that except AIDS.
Damn it, Jim.
Oops. What?
All right, so for our final topic, reoccurring, we got overrated, underrated, and we've touched on it a lot. It was inspired by Cyberpunk.
Ooh.
Game reviewers and journalists. And I'm not talking about the Geminis who give our drunken opinions on 20-year-old games. I'm talking about people...
Trustworthy.
I'm talking about people who are these top-tier IGNs, GameSpot, who are... You're getting paid to review new games, give legitimate criticisms on them or whatnot. Or people that are in the know of gaming magazines and give these published opinion pieces. We saw with Cyberpunk the full gamut. The people completely jerking it off. And then people who were just like, I don't want to say completely honest, but there were some questionable ones because there was a big video by the Quartering because he got in trouble. Because...
the fucking Quartering.
I don't know anything about the guy. It came across my stream, I guess probably because of you.
Probably.
Because our buddy Vito, who was on the podcast, was actually talking about him. And essentially what it seemed like is a girl who was a game reviewer for GameSpot.
She was a review for somewhere, and Quartering made a video bashing her review, basically.
Yeah.
And then he got a whole ton of shit and a bunch of strikes for it and stuff like that.
Yeah, he basically almost got...
But Quartering's also
banned.
a firebrand. Like, he uploads 6 times a day, and, like... He's a provocateur on purpose. It's how he gets his, that's how he hit his 1 million subscribers. Like,
so I'm not even worried about him because I've said I don't like drama channels, which is, he's a glorified drama channel to me. There's nothing.
In a way, yeah.
But the person he was talking about, this girl who did a review, I ended up watching it and I noticed it openly admitted to, like, she's like, I didn't do any of the crafting. I didn't do any side missions. I didn't do any of the, like, she basically admitted, like, in an RPG, she didn't do anything other than try and focus on the main story. And it's kind of like, who plays an RPG like that? So that was most people's problem. I know, Jim, you, but at the same time, Jim, when you've gotten into Fallout, you go balls deep.
No, that's why I don't touch them anymore because, like, I'll put 80 hours into them.
But that's what makes those fun. Like, if you did just do the main story, of course they're not fun. Like, you do 8 hours and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. So I thought about that and I'm like, is it overrated that we put so much trust into a score, into what's published? And this goes back to Nintendo Power when, like, you didn't have the option to play every game. And most people in today's world don't have the option to keep playing every game. So you try to find a source that you think is reliable and you're putting all your eggs in a basket, if you will, and like, oh, do they think Cyberpunk is worth me getting? Do you think that's kind of overrated, underrated in general because we know gaming is so subjective? And I know that's very open-ended, but I'm trying to focus it in the sense of, am I calling it overrated?
No, I know what you're getting at here. No, I definitely know what you're getting at. And it's really tough because here's my problem. Gaming journalists are like a necessary evil in a way in this day and age. Like, I think there is a market and a definite need that you need to have for legitimate, like, almost quote-unquote experts in their field to talk about games as they come out and to review them. But the problem, and I think it's very apparent in this day and age also, is that a lot of game journalists are just, like, failed writers in other fields who just, like, got a job at a gaming magazine as, like, a stepping stone. So, like, it's almost, like, I'm not going to say, like, the reviewers aren't, like, the reviewers aren't gamers and shit like that. But a lot of them kind of don't come off as it. Or, like, there'll be those infamous videos of, like, the guy who criticized... Can you hear me right now? You don't even have your headphones on.
I can hear you. You're talking loud enough.
I always do. But there is like the guy who reviewed Cuphead who said it was too hard, but he couldn't like double jump over that hurdle in the tutorial. Or the guy from Polygon talking about, I think it was the first remake of Doom, who like just had like dog shit gameplay. Mm-hmm. So it's tough, man. And like you don't want to fall into that like, the Gamergate trap of shit like that, but there still is kind of a point where it's like the people who are hired by these outlets. Perfect example that we talked about before was the PS5 review, where the guy was talking about the console and then went off on a diatribe for, his personal feelings about society in general. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's too much in this day and age where they want to make... here's how I'm going to sum it up. Reviewers overrate themselves, and here's where it's weird, too, because I'm the online guy. So, reviewers overrate themselves. The internet underrates the need for, established reviewers, and the normies in the middle are the ones who are the majority. They just go to the sites they know, like the IGNs, the Kotakus, the Polygons, and they'll just look at their stuff and go, okay. So there's a place for them, and being the online guy, I see so many of them fall into these traps where they suck their own dick way too much, and they do something cringy, and then they go on private for a week, and then they come back when no one cares anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a real problem with overexposure with the internet, where it's not like the old days where someone could just put out an article talking about a game, and if you don't like it, whatever, you get some angry snail mail, no one cares. You can just ignore that. Everything's instantaneous these days. So the game's changed. So you have to walk a really fine line with this kind of bullcrap. Man, this is fucking tough.
Yeah.
If I did pick one, I will still say Overrated, because I still think too many of them will jerk themselves off for what they write too much, and too many people in the field will just blanket defend anyone in the field with them. So I don't think there's there's the accountability of being fired by your publisher, but too many publishers will try to have their good boy points and say that we're fighting against 4chan and shit like that. And they'll put out a blanket statement. So I think it's too intertwined with them protecting them. Look at the Game Awards. Not to say that The Last of Us 2 maybe didn't deserve all the awards it got, but it probably didn't deserve all the awards it got. Mm-hmm. But I think, like I said last episode, I think it's them saying that we won the battle against the trolls. So I think they're too focused on doing that instead of just giving, just talking about games. There's a time and a place to put the other stuff in there, and it doesn't have you could do it every once in a while with reviews. Don't do it every review. Mm-hmm. And there's a thing to be said that any time it's done, people will freak out. So it's a fine line. But I still just think, in general, the industry jerks itself off too much from top to bottom that they overrate themselves. And I think that there's enough that you can point out to that you can just go, why are you going down this rabbit hole? Just give us what we need and don't throw in the extra shit, and then no one will care. It's almost like fuck. I mean, this is probably a terrible comparison. No one should stand a president. They work for us. No one should stand a reviewer or an outlet because they're supposed to be working for us to tell us what's good.
Yeah.
You shouldn't jerk off to their message over the quality of what should actually be going on.
I agree. And I think one of the things you said, I'm going Overrated as well. And the problem is, at this day and age, call it Gamergate, call everything that's happened. The problem is right now, game journalism, game reviewing, there's no standard of professionalism. And as you said, for some of these people, they could have just been failed writers at more, we'll call them serious publication. And there's a reason why other media sources still look at gaming as a kind of a joke. And right. if you're like, hey, I'm a game journalist, people will be like, the fuck does that mean? It doesn't have any prestige, and it's for a reason, because it's not being held to a professional standard.
And the problem too is even the quote unquote best journalists out there in the gaming field, if you ask me who are the two best gaming journalists, I would say Slasher and what the fuck is his goddamn name? Shit, hold on. I gotta look him up. He blocked me on Twitter for trolling him, but
but no, while you're looking that up, the point is okay, I've said very often
Jason Schreiber.
Okay, and so one of the most subjective things to me of any art source is music, because you only have auditory. There's nothing else.
Right.
But I think most of us, whether you fully agree or not, you trust Rolling Stone. When they talk about, and before you give that shit face,
that shit face I just gave,
is that of other like sources, you know you're gonna get some bullshit in there, but in general, like you're not gonna see it and go, wow, that is completely off from everyone else. Whereas
it's also the problem of being the biggest name in the game, where you have to appeal to just like the most blanket kind
of course, because that's
a fine line to walk. That's how you become the biggest name in the game.
Yeah, and here's the thing: most people, and you especially of all people, I think you take extra pride in like being. You want to be, what's the word? I'm not saying indie. But like you want to be unique. You want to be unique, like your favorite WWE stars are like Goldust and Barry Horowitz, and I know you like.
I always like the weird. Like I'm not trying to be unique, but just the weird always appealed to me.
Exactly.
Like that's why I'm glad I have a CDI. Like it's nothing else cares about, or like my random I like the deep cuts. Like I'm a weirdo.
Which that's not even a weird thing. But the thing is, like there is a. If you're ever going to try to measure something subjective, the only way you do it is by getting a popular opinion. And people hate hearing that because, like the gym deep cut opinion is not going to be the popular one. And that's not a bad thing or good thing. That's just the nature of the game. It's not exact math or science. You can't just equate it. So if you try to make a top 10 list of anything, you can't help but go for what do the people like. And you can make arguments, people are influenced by media. But with video gaming, the problem is these writers seem to come off as they're trying, some of them put too hard their own unique brand versus like, is this really a good game? Like, does every fucking game from IGN and GameSpot deserve a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10? People have given us a lot of shit for the way we rate games because we've maybe had 2 or 3 games go above a 9 when we weigh out all of our shit. And it's because we're not, and our personal opinions, we've given 9s and 10s to many games. But when you weigh in all the stuff, it's like trying to give trying our best way to be more objective in a subjective media. And with journalists and these reviewers, I feel like that's thrown out the window. They're like, what does everyone want to hear? Oh, Last of Us 2? Oh, it's brave. It's inspiring. So it's a 10.
Here's the thing. Here's my sum up. The problem with game journalism these days is the problem with like stand-up comedy these days. Like comics these days aren't trying to be funny. They're trying to get applause.
Pander.
Yeah. Well, it's not, I mean, I get, it's pandering. It's trying to be like, oh, like everyone wants to be George Carlin, but the difference is George Carlin was very progressive and he had his message, but he was also funny when he did it. Whereas a lot of these journalists are trying to do the same thing, but they're also not doing a good job of reviewing what they're trying to do at the same time.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned Slasher and Jason Schreier, even though they can go off the rails and be extreme cringe a lot of the time, I still respect them because they will actually go deep into their respective fields and break the stories that the developers don't like.
Yeah.
Like Twitch is very mad at Slasher right now for, what do you call it, like bringing out the fact that they're like outright banning small creators for saying simp, incel, shit like that because Twitch is protecting their pay pigs.
I saw that.
Right. So like, even though, you know, Slasher can do the occasional cringy going into Brittany Venti's DMs and trying to like, you know, get her to help him get with another girl, which is very easy to dunk on him for.
But is that easy to dunk on? And we'll touch on that in a second. But
we can. Yeah. I mean, trying to ask for help from someone to get with someone else or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know, use your outlets that you have. But it's also like, don't like be a moral majority. He got into a thing because he's been the moral, you know, authority on like, you know, how to treat people when he's done the same shit, that kind of deal. So he fell into that trap a little bit. But like, I still respect him as a journalist. And even though Jason Schreier takes himself way too seriously. And like he has no sense of humor about anything. He's also the guy that exposes all the crunch and all the mismanagement with all these different companies and shit like that. So like he blocked me, whatever. I'm an asshole online. But like he does his job very well that a lot of people won't do. But he's got the respect of his peers enough that like he doesn't get fired from his publications because he's got the respect. Like he's got the cred.
Yeah.
So like there's very few people like that out there. I guess is the thing where like the rest of them are just trying to have their little good boy points while like occasionally talking about what they're supposed to talk about.
I mean, it's funny that I have to say this, but to me, if you're going to be a game journalist or game reviewer, at the minimum, you gotta fully experience an entire game. And that's not to say, listen, if you get into a game and you want to say, hey, like the people you mentioned, like, oh, Cuphead's too hard. I beat Cuphead. I'm not a fucking game expert. It was tough. I live streamed it. It took me many tries, but I was able to get through it. And if you're telling me somebody who does this as a profession can't get over the friggin' tutorial, I got a problem with that. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, like, same with the Doom guy. Like, you gotta be able to put in the time and the legit, like, this is your job. That'd be like if you went to your boss and you're like, oh man, this one's really tough. I can't do it. Like, what the fuck do you mean you can't do it? Like, just do your job. Like, let me know what the issue is. So, I feel like the people who are major publications that are respected or whatever you want to call it, you should have a higher standard for who you're hiring. And part of that is, maybe it is, you got to be a good gamer. Like, you got to be able to get far enough in every game you review to be able to talk fluently and expressively and get the point out of what are the actual issues with the game. Because at the end of the day, that's what's important.
That's a good point you just brought up, because when we talked about that PS5 review, where the guy got all the shit for his little, social commentary at the end kind of deal, the publisher of, what was it? Was it Kotaku, I think? The guy who runs Kotaku. Was, yeah. The guy who runs Kotaku, like, put out a blanket statement of, like, oh, I'm glad our journalists are brave enough to go against the trolls. Like, he obviously put, like, the inflammatory shit out there, and it was all, it was bait. Like, it was obvious bait, but it's still just like, you motherfucker. Like,
you know what you were doing. Like, yeah, he was purposefully doing that. And
but, like, if you do your job well, you shouldn't have to do that.
That's exact. Like you said, George Carlton, you listen to his shit.
Carlton.
You know what I mean. If you listen to his shit nowadays,
old white guy doing this
from every single like year special he did for however many years,
a
lot of that shit people would get in massive trouble for if they tried to do today. But like you were saying, he was making valid points and being funny while he was doing it, and he never needed to apologize or never was willing to apologize, because that's not the point. Like, if you're a game reviewer, if you do have a point where you're talking about Last of Us or any of these games, after you tell me the logistics of the game, if you want to tie in some really well-written socio-political point of view, cool. I'll listen. But if you basically are like feeding me dog shit and giving me the overviews of how you created your character and then going into it, I'm not going to, like, all of a sudden, like, the whole publication to me is like, this is who you have. Now I can't trust any of your reviews because they're all just dog shit. So it's like, it would just be nice if there was a legit reform of who you're hiring. And, that's
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think everyone having their own social media and everyone putting themselves out there, I think the overexposure will take the veneer off anyone. So that's a problem. Like, if you want to be, it's almost like if you want to be really respected for what you do, don't interact with people.
I mean, gaming.
Put your shit out there and just see where it lies.
Gaming journalism is the XFL compared to NFL and real journalism. Like, they don't take you serious for a reason. You keep doing these stupid fucking gimmicks, and there's going to be a point where no one trusts you, and your brand fizzles out, and you're never going to be a legit profession.
Right? Kotaku's fake news.
A lot of their shit is. I mean,
it's true.
But it gets views. So it's like, what's fake? Because everyone clicks on it. So
gotta get those clicks. Gotta get the ad rev.
So I want to hear, what do you guys think? Are gaming reviewers and journalists, are they overrated, underrated? And I think a lot of you that follow us, you probably know people in the industry that are good people. I'm talking about this as a whole, as a general, like, what do you think? Like, what needs to happen? What needs to make them more legit? And what are you feeling about it?
The Polygons, the IGNs, the GameSpots. What do you think they need?
Yeah. So, Jim, did you stick with your Mad Elves throughout the night? Or did you switch?
Went to a Two Roads Holiday Ale once again as I closed out last week.
Oh, okay. I think I've had that before.
Yeah, it's very tasty. The Bière de Noël. Very tasty holiday beer. It gives you that little hint of cherry and all the little spices. I'm keeping it quick because, my God, do I have to pee.
All right. So with that, everyone, we want to say thank you so much for sticking with us. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe below. We're available wherever podcasts are. So make sure, give us 5 stars, even if you want to bash us in the comments.
We'll read them. No one's giving us these 5-star bashes. Give us your 5-star bashes.
Give us a 5-star bash. And until next time, guys, we want to say cheers and have a good night and have a Merry Christmas.
And a happy holidays or whatever the fuck you do. Cheers, guys.